Hey guys, what's going on today? Good morning. I want to talk about this knife right here. This is the ZT 0545 in MagnaCut. Their newest iteration, new 2023. I just about cut myself right there. This thing's sharp, still has the factory edge on it. ZT hasn't come out with a new knife in a long time, and then they came out with this one, and it's a very polarizing knife. I've watched a few other reviews. I just watched one this morning, and I don't know if I agree with other reviewers, what they say, but it doesn't matter. It's my opinion, it's their opinion. So let's get into it, and let's talk about it, and let's start with doing some sizes. We have a blade length of 3 3/16 and a cutting edge of just over 3, maybe 3 1/16, and a handle of 4 1/4 for an overall length of 7 3/8, and your pocket clip sticks out just a little bit past that, so almost 7 1/2. So it is a small knife. Overall height is 1 1/8 inches. Overall thickness is less than 3/8, just a tiny bit less than 3/8. Blade thickness is not quite 3/32. Sorry. And let's do blade height, shall we? I seem to always forget blade height. Blade height is about 1 inch at the highest point. It's got that little bit of a ramp on there. Let's compare it to some other knives. Here is next to the Cold Steel Tough Light. So as you can see, it's much bigger than the Tough Light. And here is next to the Cold Steel 4MAX Scout. And as you can see, it's much smaller than the 4MAX Scout. It is kind of one of those in the middle of the road knives. Here it is next to, having trouble with my axis locks this morning, Spyderco Para 3, which is actually very, very comparable. Although you'll see that the ZT has more cutting edge. And here it is next to the Spyderco Para 2, which you'll see is actually quite a bit bigger. And these, of course, are wearing Flytanium, titanium, fancy schmancy pants scales. And then here is next to a knife that I think it competes really well with, although at a different price. Spyderco Delica 4, Wharncliffe. And then here it is kind of compared to a knife that a lot of people compare this knife to the bugout. I don't have a bugout, but I have a mini bugout, which is exactly the same shape as the bugout. And yeah, I don't see it. Sorry, just because it's lightweight and has a thin blade doesn't mean it compares exactly to the bugout. This is actually thinner than the mini bugout. The blade shape is completely different than the mini bugout. The construction is completely different than the mini bugout. The mini bugout comes with cheap plasticky scales and is squishy, and they're just, and this isn't, this is titanium and carbon fiber. A lot of guys try to compare it, maybe because of the weight. It is a lightweight knife. Let's get the scale out. It is 2.5 ounces, which is very light for a 3-inch blade. Well under 1 ounce an inch, which is really good. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. Just because it's lightweight, I don't think the owners of ZT got up in the morning and went, "What Spyderco build today?" Oh, well, they got this knife, the bugout, that we're still competing with. Oh, well, we better compete harder. I don't know. Maybe they do, but this is not a bugout. It's not even close to a bug out. The blade shape is different. The action is different. It doesn't have thumb studs. It has a flipper tab. The pocket clip is not the same. I mean, I don't know. Let me hold this one just a little bit closer and that way do you see anything that resembles each other here? Anything at all? This has a swedge. This has no swedge. I mean, I don't know. I just don't. I don't see it. Price on this one, like about 160 bucks, but it comes with these cheap plastic handles. Price on this one, 200 and some dollars, and it's way better materials, way better blade material. My opinion, better action. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, I'm a light switch guy, so I don't mind this flipper tab. But this other video I watched this morning, he was complaining about the action because it's a light switch and it's not quite as fast. It's fast enough. It's definitely fast enough for me. I think it's great. You can do, you know, if you just want to slow roll it out, you can do that. You can snap it out. It's good. And what's really good about it is if you get your fingers on the flipper tab or on the lock bar, it still flips. Which you can't say about other knives like this guy, Fair and Forge. It ain't happening. Nope. But take it off and it zips right open. I would say this is probably more of a comparison. Wouldn't you? That looks way more comparable to me. So, I don't know. And I don't think ZT looks at Fair and Forge and goes, oh, we got to compete with Fair and Forge and make a knife like theirs. And they're not the first guys to make thin, lightweight knives. Here's a thin, lightweight knife with titanium. I don't know, guys. I don't know. A lot to be said. Anyway, I highly recommend that you go and look at my construction video. This is a super interesting constructed knife. Most flipper knives, like this one, which compares a lot to it, you'll see that the stop pin's at the top, lock bar's at the bottom. So your locking points are here and here. On this knife, it's completely different. You can't see it, but the stop pin, come on, is a lot farther forward. See that? It's actually in front of the pivot, and then they have a notch in the blade, and it goes all the way around and locks up in the middle blade. So your stop pin's up here, and your lock bar's back here, almost behind it. So you have a way different lock geometry. And I think that's because they are trying to keep the pressure off of the pivot. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, in-house design. So it's hard to say. It has a steel lock bar interface. There's your lockup right there. It's about 50%. Blade's so thin, it could be 70%, and it'd still be great. There is your deep carry pocket clip that is held on by this standoff. The titanium's milled out. Let me see if I have a flashlight. Handy dandy. I do, because I really want you guys to see this. Let's turn this bad boy down. There, you can see it. You see that? That's how the lock bar interfaces. So if you flip it around to the other side, it's milled out. You still put the same screw through, and it still pins the pocket clip into place. I've heard people complain about the pocket clip, saying that they don't really have much to grab onto when you go to pull it out of your pocket. It is different, but it didn't take me long, and I was used to it. The nice thing is it doesn't hang up, it doesn't snag, it fits right in. It works on thick jeans. I mean, it's great. Could they have done the milling on the inside so it would have looked more like this? Sure. They could have, but I kind of like that. Kind of gives me a place to put my fingers. Like I said, the action on it is fine. Is it? I don't know. It's fine. It's just every bit as good as, let's see. It might even be better than that. And this is a Wii. So, I don't know. I don't know if the reviewer that I watched this morning actually lubed his knife. I know he didn't take it apart because he said there was another screw inside that held on the pocket clip, which is not true. It's only one screw right here. Goes through into the titanium. Do I love that? No, because if you strip that out, you have to get a whole new side of titanium. Would have been nicer if it was a Chicago screw on the other side, but that's okay. Because they have to make it work for the pocket clip to be ambidextrous carry, because except for the lock bar being on the other side, this knife would work fine for lefties as well, in my opinion. Ergonomics. It's a nice straight handle. Grip's really easy. It's a little on the thin side. Kind of disappears in my hand just a little bit, but there are no hot spots. You can grip it and it's just fine. Has jimping on this ramp in just the right place. Would have been nice if they ran it the whole way, because sometimes my thumb kind of runs up a little bit, but that's all right. It's not terrible. And it's, you know, it's purposeful jimping. It doesn't rip your flesh off, but it holds pretty good. The blade, like I said, is super thin, very, very slicey. Very slicey, and it's MagnaCut. I went onto the website to look at the heat treat, and they said it's heat treated 61 to 63, which is good, I think. Haven't sharpened it. I've used it a lot. Cut a lot of packages open, cut some wood with it, cut a lot of tape, cut a lot of foam, and it's fine. It's great. It slices really well. Cut vegetables. You know, I suppose if I get an actual video camera, I can do videos of me doing all that stuff and put together compilation videos. I know some guys, they get kind of turned on by watching people cut tomatoes with a pocket knife. That's cool. I do too. The carbon fiber is really nice. It's your atypical zero tolerance carbon fiber. No voids. It could be shinier. It could be, you know, like this knife. But it's not, and that's okay. That's okay. It's kind of a matte. That's what they do. The stone washing on the titanium is really nice. You will never know the difference between your scratches and their scratches. So that's good. Hardware, T8 and T6 on the rest. Would have been nice if they used T8s on the rest, but that's okay. One driver for the whole knife is kind of what I'm pushing for, guys. Someday, knife makers will get that. One driver, whole knife, and not T6. One driver. Make them all T8s, make them all T10s, whatever. Spyderco gets it. All T8s, well, all two screws. T8s, but T8s, which is nice. Yeah, I'm dropping stuff on the floor. So, yeah. Yeah, it slices, it dices, it cuts. It's ergonomic. It's got good jimping. It's got a nice thin blade. It's got a tip that you do not want to pry with, but it's very nice. It pierces. It cuts. It does what a pocket knife's supposed to do. It disappears in your pocket. It's so lightweight you don't even know you're carrying it. It opens with your fingers on the lock bar. Could have been nice to have a little fuller or something to flick it like this guy does. But this is a thicker blade, so they actually have room for that. This is the Ferrum Forge Stinger, if I didn't say. It's nice. It is not a bug out. I don't think it's competing with a bug out. If it's competing with anything, I would say it's probably more competing with the Narrows. They are closer in materials, closer price point, and same blade steel. So, as far as I know, bug outs are not made in MagnaCut yet. I'm sure they will be soon. I'm sure they will be soon. So everybody wants MagnaCut, and I like it. It's good steel. Good in the pinch grip. Good in the reverse grip if you ever use that. I like the fact that it's got some length to the blade. That's really nice. One of my complaints about the mini bug out is the blade's just a little on the short side. I kind of wish it was the same thickness, but a little bit longer. So, and I would say if you're going to compare it, I mean, that's probably a closer comparison of a lightweight folding knife, although way different price point and different steels. This one's S30V, but not much. This is actually thicker, but not by much. And it's also 2 point something ounces. So yeah, there you go, guys. There you go. I would say probably one of ZT's best EDC style knives they've come out with in a long, long time. Of course, it's the only knife they've come out with in a long, long time. Yes, it takes a little getting used to. The pocket clip doesn't give you a lot to grab onto. Yes, it's very thin, so it's not super hand feeling, but that's okay. But it cuts and slices and does what a knife is supposed to do really, really well. Yes, I did have to take it apart and lube it up to get the action this nice. It did not come that way out of the box, but that's okay. I've never had very many knives that come with perfect action right out of the box. And, you know, give it time, let it break in. And I really recommend go watch the construction video, because this is definitely a weirdly constructed knife. So anyway, get your kids and wife and whatever family together, get outdoors, turn off the television, toad sticker out.